During market open, gold pushed into all-time highs, and this wasn't because of a technical reasoning. Over the weekend, we saw new headlines coming out with Trump going back and forth with the EU, kind of talking about Greenland and how Trump is being very aggressive with Greenland, and you have the EU pushing back on that idea. So Trump threatened to put out tariffs on the EU. So that kind of brought back those trade tensions and those geopolitical risks back into the scene here. We know that last week we had a similar event, just not a large gap like we saw right now. We had a gap towards the upside here on gold, and this mainly came from geopolitical risk, but that had to do more with Iran. That was more on the war and the physical confrontation type of geopolitical risk. This one, although it's still a geopolitical risk, it's more on the trading side, right? It's not direct war, direct conflict. Again, it's more to do with tariffs, more trade tensions. But again, if we go on market, we can see that explained here very well. Rally resumes on escalating US and EU trade tensions. Again, this was the rally that came right during market open, something that happened over the weekend. So us traders, we weren't able to try and capitalize on that. But that does not change the fact that we do have still plenty of opportunities that the market seems to be given. So just to quickly take a look here on market, we have a bullish swing trading and a bullish day trading bias. Our bullish fundamentals are still very much intact. So you can see here that the bias on gold from a fundamental standpoint, still very much bullish, again with those new tensions being the new headlines that the market is now starting to price in. So now let's take a look at the markets and see what opportunities may arise. Now, in my opinion, with the technicals and fundamentals still being bullish, there's no reason why we should be trying to call highs and tops, trying to take sells from the highs. But there is a possible scenario which I talked about with my community that could take place. So let's talk about this. Right now, let's keep it simple. Fundamentals are bullish, technicals are bullish. That means that with this new support being created here on the 1 hour, if we can continue to reject this support, then I would be on the lookout for continued buys, just like we're seeing right now. You're kind of seeing a range being created. This is still about almost 200 pips worth of a range from the highs to the lows. So again, there's plenty of opportunity to take advantage of there. And if we can just continue with these same technicals and the same tensions that we're seeing, it's likely that price will break above these highs and continue to push towards the upside. Now let's talk about a scenario that could take place, and it's something that I was talking about with my community. With Trump, you have to be prepared with him one day being peaceful, the next day being aggressive, the next day he's being extra aggressive, and then the following day he's going to be peaceful again. So what that means is that we can see a lot of trade agreements or worsening of the tensions that we're seeing. If we see further tensions, the deals are not being made, we actually see that the geopolitical risks are rising, then gold is likely to stay bullish. And we'll continue to look out for buys again above this demand zone. And once we start to break above this resistance to try and make new highs, possibly maybe retest this area, create a new support, and then we can continue to push. That's if the fundamentals and those technicals stay intact. Because Trump is so aggressive, but then peaceful at times, like one day you'll have him seen talking about tariffs, threatening a country with tariffs. The next day he has a new agreement with that country, right? So that can bring a lot of back and forth and a lot of volatility into the market. But if you do see some sort of agreements and those tensions kind of easing, and you notice that gold is still failing to break above the highs, but most importantly, breaking below this demand zone, then in my opinion, that could be a good setup to be on the lookout for those potential sells. And if we can't even get below that level, then we shouldn't even be worried about sells. We should still just continue to look out for buys and wait to see if we can get those further breakouts into new all-time highs here. On the economic calendar, we see that we don't really have any data to be on the lookout for until Thursday. Thursday is the day that we have jobless claims, we have GDP figures, and we have some core PCE price index, which we know is inflation data. Now to end this video, I wanted to let you guys know that for those of you inside of my community, make sure that you do go over the new video that I just posted about building a trading system. The reason I want you guys to complete this trading system here is because I want to make sure that all of my students in my community are actually following a process and you're not just randomly taking trades and wasting your time. So again, please take your time to go over this trading plan, fill it out, send it over to me, and then we're going to make sure to go over that and make sure that you're doing everything correctly.